So first we chant the prayers to the spiritual master, who opened my eyes, which were blinded by the darkness of ignorance. So in this world, first we are born into darkness and ignorance, as all the parents can confirm. When children are born, their eyes are sealed tight. And they come into this world in darkness. And they are in full-fledged ignorance. They don't even know how to eat. Although that is the first thing which manifests in their consciousness, called anamoya. They want to eat. That is the first exhibition of their consciousness. Then they are taught so many things. And the concern of the parent is that without learning, they will be in ignorance, and ignorance is a cause of suffering or hardship. Isn't it? So therefore, everyone is given some education. But for the most part, the education of this world pertains to how to avoid certain miserable conditions of financial distress. Education is basically to help people get good jobs so they can earn money so they will not be in financial distress. But even after getting the best type of education, the best universities in this country, the best universities in the world, getting the highest salaries, highest paid jobs imaginable. Even in history, we have not seen people paid so much money as modern people can earn and achieve such a high economic standard, high standard of living. The upper middle class American almost lives like a king in olden days. So many conveniences, so many luxuries, eases of life. Still, we see that people are not able to free themselves from misery. And ultimately, regardless, four miserable conditions remain in this life, regardless of how highly educated or how wealthy one is become. What are those things? Everyone has to grow old. No one wants to grow old. There has never been a person who wanted to leave being a child. We just grow and grow. We grow into being a teenager, and after a teenager, we go into being an adult, and nobody wants to do that. And then we can't stop there. We keep growing, and we get older and older. And the gray hair comes, and the wrinkles come, and the teeth loosen up, and fall out, and eyesight goes bad, we can't see, and we can't hear properly. Nobody wants that. Yet it happens to everyone. We grow old. That is one of the inescapable miseries of material life. Another is that we become diseased. Nobody wants disease. Everybody struggles against disease. We appropriate hundreds of millions of dollars to fight disease. But for every disease we conquer, another one comes and takes us. Because we don't understand what health is in the first place. In modern society, people do not understand what is health. So they simply struggle with diseases, and many of them they cannot conquer anyway. And some of them they conquer, but for as many as they conquer, new ones come and take their place. And then lastly, in this world, no one can live forever. Everyone has to die. Today, tomorrow, sooner or later. And no one wants that either. Everyone wants to live on. Everyone wants to remain youthful in this world. Everyone wants to be free from disease and all types of bodily sufferings in this world. And this is because that is the nature of the soul. The soul does not grow old. The only thing it changes is your body and mind, your intelligence, your worldview according to where you live, the age you live in. It seems like every 10 years or so, every generation has a different worldview, a different style of living, a different approach to things. The mind changes, our intelligence may vary. But the soul does not change. The soul is the same from birth throughout life. What was the first point I made? The soul doesn't old or diseased or die is what it was. Anyway, die. Soul never dies. It doesn't want to die. It never dies. No one wants to die because that's the nature of the soul that is eternal. No one wants to grow old because the soul is eternally youthful. And no one wants disease because the soul is actually free from disease. For the soul there is no disease. Only the body becomes diseased. Only the body grows old. Only the body dies. But the soul, Krishna says, is eternal. It has always existed. That's the happy news. Regardless of our particular state of being in this world at this time, of course we're all very lucky. We're human beings. We're in a community of devotees, in the proximity of higher knowledge, and so many things. But that plant that lives in the pot there, it's also a living thing. Outside, the pet cats, the birds, all these are living things. They are also spirit souls, and they live also forever. They have always lived. But as they live in a lower species today, and we see them, we, all of us here, in the past, we also lived in such lower species. What you see, you have been. In order to acquire the human life, you have to have experienced all the other possibilities of life. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught Rupa Goswami. He said, Rupa, there are 8,400,000 species of life. Species means like cat, dog, elephant, tiger, whatever. Variations. They're called species. Of the 8,400,000, 400,000 are species of human beings. Varieties of human beings. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that the living entities, the souls, they are wandering in all of these species throughout the universe. That means all those species, they're not present on this particular planet. And even we know now that some of the species that previously were present on this planet, they're not present anymore. They've been extincted from this planet. You know how many species have been extincted from this planet? Several hundred. In the last 200 and 300 years. Several hundred species of animals, birds, and aquatics have been wiped off the face of the earth. And before that, there were other species that vanished, the lower species, which they find fossils of. So species appear and disappear at times in different planets. All in all, though, there are 8,400,000 of them, and they are spread throughout the universe. And the souls are wandering in these species of life. And they wander in each species many times. It's like reading a lesson in a book. We rarely get it the first time. We have to repeat the study for some time. Then we are sometimes tested. If we fail or get insufficient marking, again we have to come back. So there is a natural evolution of the soul through 8 million or so of these species of life, which happens completely under the law of nature, under the order of nature. It simply happens. There are some regulations there that will keep one from progressing to the next species. Generally, one is born in a species for the designated number of times which is set by nature. Let us say one becomes a bird, a particular type of bird, a crow. And as a crow, say he has 5 times he has to take life as an experience as a crow. Now with a crow it's very particular because they say crows don't have a designated time to die. Crows don't have a designated lifespan. It's a rumor in many places in the world that crows don't like a dog or a cat or so many, they live 5 years, 6 years, 10 years. A fly lives 24 hours or something. A crow has no designated time of expiring. They have a particular strange karma, crows. Anyway, let us say he has to live 5 times as a crow. Oh wait, Now I spoiled that example. So it's not. Let's say he has to be a tiger. All right? He has to live 5 times as a tiger. But if he is killed and dies an unnatural death, if he's just killed by a hunter, someone is simply out hunting, wants to shoot the tiger for his claw. Tiger claw, tiger teeth are very, very sought after items in the black market of the world. Then he kills the tiger. The tiger doesn't go to his next life. He has to come back as a tiger. So, and that applies to all the species, dogs, cows. We've heard that a cow, in its next life, will become a human being. The cow is getting up on the top of the evolutionary scale for the soul. But if it's murdered, it doesn't become a human being. It's again become a cow. So, like this, there is a progress for the soul through the various species, and there are certain rules, regulations, there are certain standards. Eventually, though, we do come to this human form of life. In a human form of life, about 400,000, 4 lakhs of species have been determined, according to the Vedas. But here, their distinction is not so visible to the eye. We do see there's Orientals, there's Africans, there's Latins, and there's North Americans, and there's Indians, and there's so many, you can just see by the facial feature, oh, these are different light races of people. But very difficult, again, to find 400,000 such species and tribes, even counting them all. So now we are told that the human being, his species, becomes divided according to his consciousness. There are certain natural divisions according to his birth. Like he's an African, or he's a North American, or he's an Oriental, Japanese, or Chinese. These are quite distinct. But then even within that, there is gradation according to his consciousness. So there are many types of, they are generally divided into 2 groups, the civilized and the uncivilized. Civilized nations, uncivilized nations. Civilized people, uncivilized people. And their activities determine which category they are in. Then the civilized are considered to be superior to the uncivilized. So now we're at the place of the civilized species of the human being. And they are known according to their music, according to their cooking, according to their order of law, government, according to their military ethics, codes of conduct, there are gradations of civilized human beings. Then Mahaprabhu tells Rupa Goswami, they're the followers of the Vedas. They're considered to be in the top realm of the human beings, those who follow the Vedas. And he further says that there are many types of people who follow the Vedas just to increase material enjoyment. Then he says there are those who follow the Vedas to understand what is Brahman. Brahman means what is transcendental, what is eternal. There are those who follow the Vedas to realize the Paramatma, the Super Soul, the indwelling Lord in everyone's heart. And then there are those who follow the Vedas to realize the personality of Godhead, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Those Vasudeva Sarvam Iti Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. Krishna says, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told that of all the species of life, the humans are the most rare. We are outnumbered vastly. There are more ants in West Paulette than there are human beings in the whole world. We're vastly outnumbered. We're also vastly outnumbered in that we don't get human life so many times, so easily. Many times we become a tiger, an elephant, but only once we become a human being. Then again, many times one may have to live in other species to again once become a human being. The human being is at the top of the evolutionary scale for the soul, and it is the chance, it is the chance provided by human life that one can end all the miseries of material existence, namely old age, disease, death, and birth also. which I did not mention. Birth is the beginning again of that same process, to grow, to become diseased, to again die. So human form of life offers an opportunity to end the cycle, the cycle of material suffering. Old age, birth, death, and disease. So, that cycle can be ended when one approaches a spiritual master and receives proper knowledge about life. That first category of life is called Sambandha. Sambandha means what is what, who is who, what is it all about, how is it all working, what is my position in all of this, what to do, what not to do. That is called Sambandha, Sambandha Jnana. Sambandha Jnana is then followed by abhidheya. Abhidheya means put it into practice. We say practice what you preach. We also say practice what we preach. You try to follow it. Then you can experience the result. Without following, it is all theoretical. You may believe it, you may not believe it. You'll never really know. You never really know. Unless today we're assembled for a Harinam initiation, to receive a Harinam. Harinam means the holy name of Krishna. The holy name is already being chanted by everyone. So we're not really receiving the holy name, but we are receiving the shelter in which or under which we may successfully chant the holy name of Krishna. The instruction to help us in our journey back to home, back to God. So in abhidheya, we must do it. We must chant the holy name of Krishna sincerely, daily, a regulated number of times. It is called sadhana, practice. If there's no practice, there's no achievement. Whatever you do, you have to practice. Did you knit the first sweater so nicely the first time? No. Did you bake a pie so nicely the first time? No. Did you perfect any sport the first time? No. Or make soap so nicely the first time? No. Everything takes practice. Everything takes determination. Everything takes guidance. Of course, we may experiment on our own. That is not the intelligent way. You can save lifetimes by accepting guidance. If you want to hear the radio, what is best? Go purchase a radio or invent one on your own? Well, it depends on how good of an electrician you are, whether you can invent something to pick up the radio signal. For most of us, we'll just go where the authorized radios are being sold and pick one up. Not try to invent it for ourselves. But theoretically, yeah, you could do that. But it's so much safer and so much more convenient. So, like that, instruction is required. So that instruction will come from Krishna via the Guru. And he will guide us about what to do and how to succeed in our spiritual life. So when putting his instruction into practice, then we will come to the third stage, to this final stage. It is called Prayojana. Prayojana means direct perception of Krishna. Direct. Until then, we are working on a certain amount of theory. And it is unavoidable. Because to know the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he has standards, or he has rights reserved. He does not make himself known to everyone and anyone. There are tests. The living entity must pass the test to qualify to know him, to qualify to realize him, to qualify to be with him. It is offered to everyone, but a qualification is there. So in Prayojana, one has a direct experience of Krishna. At that time, all doubts, all theoretical proposals, they vanish. Just like the full rising sun. It disperses the fog. In the morning, when there's dawn, we may say to a friend, oh, wake up, the sun is risen. And certainly the sun is rising. But yet, fog is also there. And fog is impeding life. So in the middle stage, both of these things are there. We have some perception of Krishna and what it's all about, and at other times, simply fog. We see the fog. And we are in the fog. But the good news is that the sun is on the horizon. And if we move in the direction of the sun, eventually we will come into such intensity of light that the fog will be removed. On the other hand, if we move fast enough in the other direction to run away from the sun, we might reach darkness again. Have you ever taken off in an airplane and raced against the sun? It's pretty hard, but you can, do that. If you're in a plane fast enough, you can escape the sun and enter into darkness. And if you can keep up, you can keep in darkness around the world. It's very, very difficult, anyway, even in that example. But if we move towards the sun, then we are sure to come in its full rays, and then all doubt, all hazy conception, the fog is called abhas, hazy conception, is removed. The direct perception of Krishna. With the direct perception of Krishna is also the direct perception of yourself. Wouldn't it be great to know who you are? Since you've been who you are for so many, well, let's just say this lifetime. Wouldn't it be nice to know who I am, who you are, who our own self is? Because not only is Krishna covered by this fog, we say the fog of Maya or illusion, but our own self is covered by that fog also. We don't know who we are, who our own self is. That fog dictates us. We're body, mind, intelligence, so many things, or some totally concocted thing beyond that. Sometimes that illusion even makes one falsely think, oh, you are Krishna. I know you, you're Krishna, I am also Krishna. That is also an illusion, that fog. So when this fog, this Maya is present, we don't even know who we are, ourselves. So Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam, says that when one realizes Krishna, one realizes one's own true nature also. And this is so valuable because without knowing who you are, without knowing my own identity, how can I be happy? If I'm always under the illusion of a false identity, I never know who I am. I never know where my home is. How could we be happy? Such people we consider to be in a mentally deranged condition. They don't know who they are. They don't know where they belong. We have special homes for them. Bellevue and other places. Similarly, that's what this material world is. It's just one big Bellevue. Is it called Bellevue? Is that the famous one? Big one. For people who don't know who they are, don't know where their home is. So someone may ask, why this material world? And one answer is given. Because Krishna does not want to force anyone. Oh, I am the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You must be with me. We are part and parcel of Krishna. Therefore we have some independence. If we exercise that independence wrongly, we wander in the material world. An inmate of the Greater Bellevue. If we surrender that independence, that it's so difficult to do this, surrender your independence, then we become a resident of the independent world. Now we're a resident of the dependent world. We cannot do anything without something else. We depend on heat. The year 2000 committee in Vermont says heat will be our biggest problem. It's our greatest enemy, the cold. We rely on heat. If you live too far south, you rely on shade or water to remain cool. We rely on food. We rely on others to grow that food. We are dependent in every step. But yet all the countries around the world, they are clamoring for independence. They all celebrate the day they became independent of Britain, independent of France, independent of Portugal, independent of America. But after they get independent, that's all they're independent of, is that particular country. They're not independent. We are interdependent. Everyone on this planet is interdependent in so many ways. And not just on each other, but on the environment itself. We cannot sustain life here without certain other things. But life in the spiritual world is completely independent. It is not dependent on any other thing, any other external or marginal thing. There, souls are free. Here, their freedom is a bogus license. Here, have a license. You are free. But no one's. But we're thinking we're free. Just like a prisoner. I don't care for the law of the state. All right, go to jail. And in the jail he says, yes, I don't care for the law. What is that? He's in the jail. Who cares for his defiance of the law? He's in the jail. So in this world, we are experiencing some illusory independence. Then we are called upon to surrender that independence. And it is so difficult. It becomes very confusing. Because at the same time, one will feel, but wait, but my nature tells me I want to be free. And if I surrender and again become dependent, how will I be free? You understand? Again, one looks in himself and finds that the truth within says, but you want to be free. So don't make yourself a slave of another. Don't surrender to another's thoughts. Don't surrender to another's order. You want to be free. But here we learn this point, that we can never free ourselves. Maya's power is such. And even when we go within to find something about ourselves, it will sometimes contradict what we should be doing. You follow me on this point? Read? Or is that?
I think so.
The point is, if we want freedom, first surrender. We have to surrender. When we surrender to Krishna, we can qualify to go back to home, back to God. That is the independent, free world. That is not regulated by any of the miserable conditions which we experience here. Puru wrote me a letter the other day, Uncle Puru, and he said, I told him we were getting snow in Vermont. He said, yes, once in New York, Srila Prabhupada commented, in the spiritual world, the snow is warm. It's not cold. It's warm. Sometimes it snows in the mountains near Govardhan Hill and other places. And the devotees in Krishna, they enjoy that snow, but they don't get frozen toes, frozen feet. That snow is real. There is no unpleasant duality here. No unpleasant duality. Here's the world of all unpleasant duality. There is the non-dual world in the sense there is no unpleasantness there. So, spiritual life is filled with many apparent contradictions. If you want to be free, first surrender. In this world, that's contradictory. No. If I want to be free, I must fight for freedom. Give me liberty or give me death. And that's what they get. Death. They asked for it. They got it. First surrender, then freedom. So then you look, well, who is that Lord I'm surrendering to? Some evil god in the sky who hurls down thunderbolts on the heads of innocent people and deprives them of food and makes them, suffer? Who is Krishna? See who he is. How does he treat his devotees? Who they are. How they are enjoying. What is their life? And he is the one whom we must serve. Sarvadharma Prityaja. You give up everything else, just surrender to me.